Okay. Like the most crazy good songs. Really did like the happy mood. Ooh, funky. Feeling funky. Alright, let me get some alcohol going. Just grabbing some 91. Gonna put that in my little cap I have off to the side here. And then just have a syringe ready. Looks like I'll be ripping apart some blue guys today. I'll quickly get the screw covers that I had from yesterday sorted away. Rather not get these mixed up or lost. Well, they'd be very easy to sort, but screw covers like to stick to each other, so I'll just rather not have to deal with multiple colors sticking in a giant pile. Now this one's already apart for reasons I don't really understand. So I'm just gonna kind of go ahead and finish up taking this apart. Not entirely sure why the motherboard was just sort of removed with the bottom screen, but there's a few things there's sometimes questions that I can't ask. Usually motherboards don't go bad. Specifically. Probably coarse thread silver screws, yes they are. I have to keep my eye out for variations in screws, though I haven't found any that really matter. There are differences. So it's more just like, are there differences that are big enough that actually matter? So far, no. Well, according to the face buttons right here, there's a little bit of liquid that got in. Enough to foul the motherboard, maybe? I don't know. The condition of this screen is unknown. I'll slop it into a motherboard and a bottom screen once I get one from the next console. Maybe I could clean shells today. Yeah, that might be a good idea. I'll do that off screen because I have well, I do that at the kitchen sink, which isn't very easy to set anything up. Not like there's anything that crazy going on there anyway. little early to say, but this top screen might just be just fine. I kind of have my doubts. I don't know why anybody would go through the process of taking out the bottom screen and motherboard and not utilizing the top screen, as the top screen tends to be the one that is a very common point of failure. Both a common point and very easy to identify as a failure. Which is both a blessing and a curse, since it's probably the hardest thing to replace, aside from, like, the game card slot. Even then, you could just buy a new motherboard. No, I think this top screen's torn. That makes sense. Maybe. I see some concerning, like, fraying on the side of this cable. Or on the side of the ribbon cable. I'll have to look at it here once I get it out. That would explain why everything was just kind of gutted out of this and just left. Well, I have top screens. Camera unit off. Actually, it's a little hard to say, but I'll definitely know once I try plugging that in. I don't want to, like, really look at it until it gives me a reason to. I would be very surprised if it was a good screen. I just really feel like... Prui 8? Not sure what that means. Those are not OEM markings. At least none that I'm familiar with. Curious. Let's get this bottom shell apart so I can put all the components in my bag to clean. Okay, this doesn't have a serial number sticker on it, so I don't have to worry about what shoulder button goes into this console. I almost find that a lot of these consoles that I've come across are missing that sticker. I don't know if Nintendo just didn't use very good sticker adhesive or whatever else, but it seems like a lot of these DSIs are missing those stickers. More than the XLs. Get all this hardware off to the side here. I'll deal with a little later. These components I don't clean. These ones I do. Now, to some actual consoles. Huh. It's just the texture has been worn off, so it has a different sort of feel to it as I rub my finger across it. I thought it was sticky at first, but I think it's just whatever the coating is. Oh boy, look at that bottom screen. Yeah, those are all good deep scratches. X signifying that that digitizer needs to be replaced. Obvious, this one's very obvious, but there are some cases where it isn't. Pressing the power button, I'm getting nothing. This battery compartment looks a little bowed out. Wow, it doesn't look, it feels like it's bloated. So I'm guessing that's the battery. You can already see it just... Oh, yeah, that's a spicy pillow. So for comparison, here's this charged battery that I'll be using. Spicy pillow. I'll put that over here. Known good charged battery? Let's see what it does. Got power. Okay, there is a scratch on this top screen lens. So in this case, the top screen lens looks really good, but there's a scratch I can see as the console's on. Let me turn off my lights real quick. A little hard to say. Screens kind of have a strange look to them, but I wouldn't necessarily call them like yellowed. So I think for now I'll just put them in my good pile. I can probably find a bottom screen that will match. The part I don't like, taking these out. I found that way is the least damaging the shell, because I'm pivoting against my plastic pry tool so it doesn't leave any marks against the shell. That's the only way I found to take those things out, like, relatively easily. Ugh, other than the screws having a bunch of, like, dust on them. Fine thread. Once I take this motherboard and bottom screen out, I can test the other top screen. Ooh, that's a different colored motherboard. It does have a sticker. I do notice that there are some differences in these. Just the PCB color that they use. I don't know if it was just for that batch, or maybe like a stretch of years they used this color from a lower bid manufacturer. That charge port is just chewed up. Wow. Game card slot looks fine. Charge ports are pretty easy. I'm not gonna do it on this guy. That's usually, since it's a fairly straightforward process, that's something I'll save for when I'm actually getting ready to put consoles together. This motherboard has no problems that I'm aware of. It may literally have just been, it doesn't turn on, I don't know why, and it was because the battery went bad. Still don't like these LED diffusers. unplugging. Okay, set this aside for now. I'll disassemble the rest of it later. I just want to check on this top screen here. I'll get in all of the boot essential components, which is the bottom screen. I think you only really need the backlight, which is the thin ribbon, but I like putting in the LCD display, so I kind of know that it actually is that the console's working and I'm not spitting out an error I don't catch because the LCD isn't plugged in. Plugged in the Wi-Fi card. I almost forgot to do. Have a battery in, top screen. Oh no, I didn't put in the battery. One step ahead of myself. Yeah, and as I thought, bottom screen's flashing. So there's most likely an issue in this top screen. I'm gonna look at it closely. I think I remember seeing there's a couple concerning spots, but I can't really make it out with my naked eye. I'm going to creep in my microscope. Get some light going on it. Even right there is kind of concerning. Let me just go through the edges. Yeah, this is where I saw that was like fraying a little. It's right there, actually. You can see it cut through this outer trace. Yeah, right there. So, slicing that one itty bitty little trace was enough to kill this entire display. That's a shame. There's nothing I can do about it. Ah. Well, it is what it is. I figured that screen wouldn't be good, and it wasn't. Warren. Chuck that in my bad screen pile. Okay, so this one, my little test rig I had set up, I'll just go ahead and get it all apart. What I could do is actually get it ready and then I can look at these screens. Nah, for the sake of it, I won't do that right now. Just do good. The only reason I'm doing that is because I need to sort of test it relative to other screens, and I just can't really do that right now. So I'm gonna take all of this stuff off. This will tell me that well, I basically will take off the Wi-Fi card. That will just tell me that there's something on this console I need to address, which is the charge port. Always fluid. Always fluid. Now to take these screw covers off, you gotta kind of poke down on one of the edges and try and get underneath that, like, silver tape. Once you get under that, just the screw covers just pop right off. Well, I guess this one decided to separate. Okay, fine, I suppose. You... The line of crud. Ugh. Almost wish these were a little easier to take apart just for the sake of end user cleaning. I'm going way deeper than any end user would ever. Well, most end users wouldn't dare, which good. Huh, maybe these are factory markings. Guess I'm just not used to seeing them. Or maybe I just never noticed. Now, I was kind of like iffy on this top screen. It's kind of got like a... I really don't know how to describe it, almost like... Wouldn't necessarily call it blotchy, but... It's something I'll definitely have to look at a lot closer. The colors were kind of distributed weird on the screen, so I'll just put good, question mark, again. No doubt I'll have no idea what that means once I actually come to looking at screens, but I'll probably figure it out. Or just say like, well, I don't know what I was talking about, I was crazy. Which I hope the latter, because that would be more easy for me. No serial number sticker, so I don't have to make any special marks for this. Yeah, a lot of these shells will clean up really nicely. Not really sure what this sticker's for. Sure, they're a little beat up, but I call it charm. If it doesn't impact on the experience of playing it, I don't necessarily care. Because it's either me using that shell or putting in an aftermarket shell, which I'm not too fond of. So my options are not very good, let's just say. So I picked the lesser of two evils. If I feel the need to be a little dramatic. Alright, I got 2 shells. I'll put that in my shell pile. Grab another blue. Oh, well, that's unfortunate. That entire bridge piece is broken off. And there's metal pieces sticking up from the game card slot. Ooh. At least I had a present. A 32! Ooh, class 10, 300 megabytes per second. That's a real good present. Turns on. Then factory reset. This top bottom screen's a little too scratched up for me to use. I really am very intrigued on what this motherboard looks like. Especially the game card slot. Let me check this top screen. I'm basically checking for any deep scratches that you can see while the console's on. Basically, the scratch will look like a smudge of oil. It'll be refracting the light. Okay, I think they're both good. Top screen looks like it's in good shape. So unfortunately, I can't use this bottom shell. That little bridge piece is completely broken off. Like, I do have the ones where the bridge pieces are, like, broken on one side. I'm pretty sure I can just get away with super gluing it. It's not structural. And as long as I do a good gluing job, it should almost be indistinguishable from, like, a scratch. So I am really concerned, yeah, what that game card slot looks like. I think I have an idea of where these little metal tabs are coming from, but I don't even know how how this person ripped or bent those tabs out like that. No real evidence to suggest this has been part before. There's not really good clear indicators like there are on the XL, where there's the white pieces of tape above the digitizer and backlight LED, the backlight ribbon cable. Well, at least they bothered to put the screw back, but fine thread, black screw. But yeah, this bottom shell is just garbaged, unfortunately. What's behind door number 1? Oh yeah, look at that. So the metal flap was just completely ripped off. Like, it was bent through the game card slot and then clipped. Can't say I've ever seen that before. Seems a little dramatic. I'm wondering if a game card got like stuck or something, and then they tried ripping the game card out, and in the process the flap came with it. I don't think I've ever heard of a case like that. Huh. Yeah. Well, that the game card slot, I suppose, is still usable. It's just missing, because I believe that flap is just like a debris cover. Of course I'll have to replace it, but can't say I've ever seen that before. And the perks of having a bunch of garbage game card slots is I can use those pins for game card slots that maybe have a bad pin here or there, bent or otherwise. Some it's like one broken pin, another it's like a couple bent ones, and those can be replaced pretty easily. Wow. Relative to the game card slot, I would say it's a very easy swap. Okay, fine thread screw. I don't know if these screws are yellow or... Yeah, they are. They're yellow. Huh. I've never seen yellow coarse thread screws of this size on a DS console before. I don't know if they're yellow or just like a trick of the light. Put a couple in my hand. Yeah, that's curious. Okay. Since I've already determined the screens are good, I can just go ahead and just finish disassembling everything. Since game card slots, I don't really have that many of. And what I'm probably going to end up doing is taking a shield off of a junker. Just the shielding. And then try and put it on here. Never actually done a replacement like that. But right now I'm kind of focused on getting everything apart so I can get these shells processed, cleaned, and everything else. Ooh. Don't want that to happen. Let me double check that backlight connector. I almost popped it out. One thing at a time here. I'll get all this separated because I need to indicate to myself that this board needs repairs. Get the buttons. Oh, shucks. No, not selling parts yet. It definitely wouldn't be a bad idea. It'd probably be a lot more profitable than what I'm doing, but I find that to be a little dull, and that's a lot of very small packing material I haven't quite... I don't want to figure out. Let me check on this little connector that I almost popped out because I want to make sure I didn't completely snap it. Oh, looks fine. That's good. Pop it open again. I'm not really sure what this little black piece is on the side. Oh, maybe it did pop off and that's... yeah. Okay, it did pop off a little. Wonderful, okay. Yeah, I don't need YouTube bots. Thankfully they've left me alone after that, like, slew. Not really sure what that was all about. So this is going to be very tricky. Okay, I got it out of the canal, or the little latch. Now it's going to be a matter of trying to get the pins underneath the little slots on this latch. Definitely not the easiest process, especially working with something this small. The general idea is getting these 4 pins into those holes on this black latch. Now, since I have to lift the latch in order to put it in the actual base mounting piece, this will lift it above the pins, so I'll have to go in with my sewing needle and try and lift these pins up. Right now, only 2 of them are making contact. Real work is about to start, eh? Yeah? I don't envy that. I know, how dare you? And you call yourself a fan. Ugh, I'm disgusted. Oh, that's fun. I think doing nothing at work is probably my least favorite thing. I don't know how anybody can do a job where they just do nothing all day. I would probably go insane. I like doing something. Ah, darn, I got all 3 of them in, but not this 4th one. 4th one, again, I have to lift up. This angle is really, really tough. I just have to be very careful because this is very small plastic. Thin. I actually don't know. I can't really see it. I don't want to tempt it, so I'm just going to try and slot it in. Nope. Still didn't get that last one in. Okay. Pop it back out. Try again. Try and lift this pin up. I might be able to bend it up just a little, but I really don't want to bend these pins more than I need to. Keep my needle there. I don't think I did. Nope. Rotate my little setup here a little. Try try and get a different angle on this last pin. Oh, now. Really wants to go up. I don't want it to go up. Gonna reorient again. I think my first orientation actually was working out a lot better for me. I keep pressing down on the board so the camera goes out of focus. Is that the noise I thought that was? Yeah, it sure does look like I broke that latch. Alright. And that happens too, so. Oh well. Happens. Okay, well that board will have a few repairs that will be needed on it. I guess while this is in my face, I'll go ahead and just take this apart. That was a bit of a shame, but not the first time that's happened, and it surely will not be the last. But I know that motherboard otherwise works fine. No sticker for the serial number, so I don't have to worry about keeping these together. I don't have the rest of the shell apart, so I can't pair those yet. I didn't check to see if this console was like unlaunched. Especially with that big of a and that new of a SD card in it. I am missing a battery door nut. It's not in the usual spot. There should be 2 battery door nuts and or 2 of each of the metal hardware. Usually they get stuck on the sticker. Oh well, I don't see it. It'll pop up eventually if there was one to begin with. Because I don't see it in either my shell or in the spot I would be usually seeing it. If it ends up being in my bag of parts, then I'll know where it went. Oh, that one's in there pretty good. Must be some goober around it. A little. Those LED diffusers are also fairly delicate. Only broken one. Okay. Ah, it went back into its little slot. You get out of there. Memory serves. These 2 screens were good. This one had a bad digitizer. So I have a box for that. This one's good. Has a lot of crud underneath the LCD or under the lens, but that can be cleaned. Not very easily, but can be. Okay. Good. Yummy, yummy. This one will clean up really nicely. See all the dirt left on my paper towel from these consoles. Hey, it's a darker blue fella. Broken hinge. Actually, that reminds me, I'm garbage in this piece. Forgot about that little detail. So yeah, this hinge piece is gone. I'm guessing this thing took a great fall. And there were no king's horses nor the king's men that would put Humpty Dumpty back together again. Ooh, another present. Whoa! A Wii branded and DSi branded SanDisk. Never seen one of these before. Awesome. Ugh, something was spilt on this bottom screen. That's gross. Well, let's see what Humpty Dumpty has to say for itself. Top screen's busted. The bottom screen, I don't know. There is kind of a yellow hue to it on the top screen specifically. The bottom screen LCD's okay. That's assuming that this bottom screen isn't rusted out due to whatever was spilt. Like yellow sticky stuff. Probably have to take off the bezel on this one to clean it. The bottom screen actually looks like it's in pretty good shape. I think this might be a good one. Okay. I don't detect any more issues, so let's get this poor fella apart and see what's going on here. Sure, I'm using the right side of my needle so I don't poke myself. Kind of nice when I only have to deal with 2 bottom shell screw covers and not 4. Especially ones that are held in with friction and not adhesive. This is a black fine thread screw. What's interesting is this is one of the these like shieldings that have holes pre-drilled in them. I really not seen many of these. Like, scratch that. They're all like that, but the difference is that they have this big sticker over it versus this very minimalistic sticker. Huh. So I think this one's using gold screws. I need to get a picture of these, if that's the case. Yeah, these use gold screws. So I take pictures because I want to make sure I document the differences of these console shells. Where's OBS? Might need to turn off this light. Screenshot source. There we go. I plan on getting a post together about the differences of these screws. There aren't really that many, though the DSi does use coarse threaded black screws, and apparently coarse threaded gold screws, which the DSi XL does not have. Well, it doesn't have of this size of screw at least. This, like, really itty bitty one. It also uses fine thread black screws as on the battery cover as well, which is not, or on the battery power daughter board. So I don't know if Nintendo just went through a few different suppliers. Functionally speaking, they're the same screw. They do the same work. Just one's coarse threaded and one's fine threaded, and just different screw colors. It wouldn't be very good documentation if I left out a piece. This piece of the shell is a little bent in, so it was preventing that. I think it was preventing the diffuser from popping out. Yeah, a little bit. Okay. Everything's good otherwise. The top screen's maybe mildly yellowed. I'll have to determine that when I'm really, like, starting to pair screens up into consoles. Because without a really objective way of matching screens, it's all just best guess. A bit of corrosion on that touchscreen digitizer ribbon. Game card slot looks good. Charge port looks usable. Whatever that liquid was, it looks like it didn't get far. Good. This Wi-Fi card with the motherboard. Sweet. Now I put these two colors of screen protectors, or the screw covers, in the same slot. So I'll just kind of put them in a bigger pile. Kind of nice when the camera doesn't stick to this back shell like it does on the DSi XL. That it has its own little slot right there so it stays in place. You don't have to try and finagle it. No, I did not forget about you, microphone. Ah! So, this shell piece on my garbage pile. A little bit unfortunate, but I have just a big box of garbage shell pieces. Keeping them for no real specific reason other than if I ever felt inspired to do a wacky project, I'll have enough spares to test on. Wow, dropping stuff all the time. I'll put good, maybe yellow. I'll be for future me to deal with. It's a bad lens. I have a nice big box of screens that have bad lenses and bad digitizers but good LCDs. A box of bad LCDs with maybe good digitizers and lenses. And then a box of good lenses and good digitizers on good LCDs. Which those are the ones that I can deploy pretty much immediately. I'll have to go through the trial of trying to match them, but that's a problem for future me. Okay. Does not have a serial number on it, so I don't have to worry about matching. I also threw away that, or junked that piece, so I only have these two. Alright, I have two more here I want to do today. I have this blue one, which Huh? Was assaulted by something, a pencil. The L button is just... Ugh. Feels awful. I'm expecting a lot of bad stuff in there. Huh. No, what I think it is, it looks like it's the remnants of a sticker and then, like, pencil. Oh. Yeah. Neat. Oh, and it's a miracle, turns on. Well, there's scratches on the top screen lens are enough to foul it. The bottom screen, all things considered, looks pretty good. I have to take off this lens, or take off the border of the bottom screen, and there's like, I don't know what to call it, like chunks of something in there. It's really hard to just try and clean with a Q-tip, so... Try and get off as much as I can so I can see any scratches or defects in the bottom screen, which... I think the bottom screen's good, so against apparently all odds, this console's in fairly good shape. Cosmetically, though, it's a little bit disgusting, but you know what? I think hot soapy baths are in my future today. I think I'll clean DSI shells. Ooh, this is an aftermarket battery. So I hear very hit and miss things about them. Visibly thinner right here, so... At 84... 840 milliamp hours, which is the same as the stock batteries, but I've always heard that third-party batteries always perform worse. I've never actually tested that. I have a few third-party batteries kicking around. But since I have so many OEM batteries from these consoles, I would much prefer to use those, because I know those are more than likely good. And whether or not the third-party ones are actually bad is just a problem I'll get to if I start running out of OEM batteries, which... currently squatting on quite a pile of them, so I think I'll be good for now. Fine thread black screw. I could always test batteries if I ever need to collect data for somebody. I know there's been a few studies on third-party batteries, but I'm not sure their software that they use to test the batteries. I know one specifically clocked down or up the CPU. Oh, this feels awful. Well, the motherboard looks fine. No rust. I really want to know what's going on in this bottom shell. Oh, okay. Now both of the shoulder buttons work fine. I'm thinking it's just because whatever the sticky stuff is that's on the top and bottom of this shell, I'm guessing some type of fluid. Okay, good. I thought like maybe just like gummed, like actually gummed up with something. Maybe literally gum. So I'll just go ahead and disassemble this now since I'm thinking about it. I have it in front of me. Yeah, you can just sort of, you can see all the way around the shell is just gunk. Let's see if it rusted. Oh, surprisingly, the spring looks okay. No presents, unfortunate. Ugh. Yeah, ew. Let's just say I'm probably gonna have to cycle out the water a few times if I clean these shells. These DSi ones are just disgusting. A lot of the XL consoles that I get are usually either in very good shape, maybe very light use, or just like awful. There's never sort of an in-between. For these ones, it's like, oof, almost all universally awful. Put this over here. Could just be where the buyer I got them from, or the lot that I got them from was just like a particularly disgusting lot, and they're just like, yeah, I don't want to deal with these consoles, sell them to some poor chump that's gonna take them apart. Call me that poor chump. Yeah, the buttons look okay. I'm gonna have to wipe this thing, wipe them all down with alcohol though. Both LCDs are good, despite all odds. I never have expected it. So let's just pull this thing apart, get it all ready for processing. Didn't check the game card slot or anything like that. I'll get that here. Both look fine. Charge port's a little chewed up, but coarse thread black screws. So thankfully I've only ever found coarse or fine thread black screws. And then that's a coarse thread black screw. So it's just interesting how they sort of differed. I don't know why they went with the coarse thread over the fine thread, or why they didn't just stick to one thread style instead of flipping and flopping. So unless I'm wrong, really the difference between the fine and the coarse thread would have to be so many. Oh, this is going to be a pain to take off. There's just sticky stuff in there, and I don't have a tool that can really pop out those LED diffusers. Let me get this power board off and get the motherboard away, and then I'll just dribble rubbing alcohol in there to try and loosen up whatever sticky stuff this poor console was introduced to. Yeah, even around there. Despite all odds, this is good. No water damage, just goo. Okay. So the Wi-Fi board on this motherboard tells me that this motherboard is good. Or no known issues is what I would like to say, because I don't really like doing extensive testing on something I'm pulling apart. Now let's just dribble some rubbing alcohol in there to try and loosen up whatever that goop is. Should probably invest in a tool that can really poke down in there. That won't damage the plastic. There we go. Ugh. Power board looks good. Where that goop was, didn't get on it. That top screen is very concerning. Oh lord. The ribbon cable is pinched. It's not torn, but if it's already experienced that type of stress, it's mighty high possible that I might tear it on its way out. Yikes, okay, I'm gonna have to be very careful with that. Damn, this poor console. You're the one that needs a bath. Most, it would seem. Poor console, you did not deserve this, but I will give you a better life. I can promise you that. Maybe you can find yourself in the hands of somebody who wants to play you. Once more. You know what? That kind of romantic ideal keeps me going. The idea of this being nice and cleaned up and in somebody's hands to unlaunch and play, I don't know, Pokemon Platinum on for hours on end. I know I need to play more DS games myself, but productivity and gaming don't necessarily share the same time slot, or don't necessarily share the same view. Meaning I'd rather be productive than just play games. Oh, this is gonna be a nightmare. Okay, thank goodness that came off. I was really concerned. That first tug was like, oh, it gave me a lot of resistance, but... So I'll show this ribbon cable once I get it out, but ooh, it's yikes. That is yikes. I'm gonna have to be very careful. Let's just say it's like one bad... I don't know, it could be like one or two... I can't say that, but like... It's scary. That's the type of appearance that I see on cables that are torn. So how many more opening and closing could this console handle before that ribbon cable rips? And of course, yeah, these things are just held down by goo. Only one side, thank goodness. Now I can clean that off. It's not a very important piece. Okay, this will be a challenge. As to not rip this ribbon cable as I take it out. Same procedure, I'll sort of gently wiggle it apart. Okay, the little metal ring stuck onto the top shell, very good. This part I'm not worried about, it's the next part. So you can see right here, the ribbon cable is just like crinkled. How it didn't rip, I actually don't know. See if I can get my camera to focus there. Yikes. Okay, I was able to squeeze it a little back into shape. Hopefully that will keep it, because, again, yikes. Hopefully it'll survive this. Me removing it should, but... I'm not exactly sure how that happens, if it's just like an error in the manufacturing or the assembly process, or... Because I don't think this console's been opened. Or at least I'd hope whoever bothered to go through the process of opening it would clean it. Good, the hinge mechanism just perfectly free of that gump. Yummy. This one will clean very nicely, I think. I really do think this thing will clean up very nicely. I can see your future, DSI Shell. And it's grime-free. Okay, this will be the last one I do today, and it would look like it's very obviously been apart. Shoulder buttons feel weird. Okay. I can't really describe it. Sort of an aftermarket. Might be from a white console. Actually don't know. Any presents? No presents. Yeah, definitely somebody Frankensteined one together, so I wonder what's wrong. Getting no power. Let me check the charger. The charger will immediately tell me if it's a fuse issue. So if the charge light flashes, then... well, the charge light will flash because it doesn't have a battery in, for one. I just reinserted the battery. The very slow blink. Maybe I'm just a little far removed from dealing with a blinking orange light, or that seems a lot slower than what I'm used to. Let me just see what's going on inside. That screw's missing. Or been put in the wrong spot. Oh, yeah, okay. So, what happened was it looks like that positive line is yanked out of the plug. I don't know if I can reset it. Oh, it's cracked. Yeah, you can just see it's just free floating. I can try. I've never actually tried doing this before, but this is what happens when you don't put your console back together the way it came apart. Is when you squeeze the shell back on, it pinched, or it put way too much pressure on this poor cable. That might do it. I'm probably gonna have to replace the, I can replace the cables on these power boards if I need to, or I can just swap it out with a different power board. I have quite a few of those kicking around. Huh. So let's give that a shot. Otherwise, it looks like this person did a pretty okay job. This screw doesn't look right. It's because it isn't right. This is a motherboard screw. They have an extra motherboard screw, or what happened here? Yeah, they did have an extra motherboard screw. Okay, strange. But putting wrong screws like that is how you damage the shell. Looks like this was spared damage. Ugh, microscope fell. I'm still not getting any response from the power board. Still a slow blink. Let me try a different power board. I'm guessing this just isn't making good contact. I can check with my multimeter, but the fact that that positive line was yanked out, it's possible that wherever it squished, it may have broken that line. It's a little hard to say. And I'm getting no contact through the plug, or through the entire power board, which could mean that there is a problem with this red line, or the fuse might be blown. Okay, I'm getting contact through the negative, but that's not that important. I'll swap the power board, I'm guessing there'll be a fault there. What I might do is just break off this connector, since that's just easier for me to just say, yeah, there's something wrong. I need to sort of double check these screws because they were put in by somebody who mostly cared, but not enough. Like, that camera ribbon isn't plugged in all the way. All of these are fine thread, black screws. They all have a lot of shell material on them, so they were cross-threaded. That's great. Oh. Wow, that's in there pretty good. Okay, let's... Yeah, I guess... Yeah, the positive line popped out again. I'm guessing, yeah, it's just... This connector is just broken. There was a crack on it when I was trying to plug, or when I was trying to take it out originally. I thought it was just going to disintegrate, but it didn't. I'll put that aside. So I have a couple good, well, I can't say they're good, but different power boards that I can try. I have a sneaking, while I'm here, I have a sneaking suspicion there might be a problem with the top screen isn't plugged in all the way. I don't think it's unplugged enough to cause an issue, but I will quickly seat that in all the way. Okay. I've noticed when people do these, they never really plug those top screens in all the way, which gives them a flashing bottom screen. On boot. Now let's check. Blue light, solid, frozen. The Wi-Fi card pop off. It sure doesn't look like it. I'm gonna take off the antenna though. Make sure it's nice and seated. Okay, it's having one of these issues now. Come on. I don't like doing what I'm about to do, but... So this is an error I haven't quite nailed a solution down to, but... not striking me as a Wi-Fi card issue. I'm putting a lot of pressure on that connector. Okay, let's try a different Wi-Fi card. So what it's doing is it's not booting, it has a solid blue light, console's frozen. Doesn't respond to the power button. This is almost always a Wi-Fi card issue. Ooh. I don't know if that's different, but blue light turns on for a second and turns right off. Let me check the last Wi-Fi card again. Okay, yeah, so with the other Wi-Fi card, it was a blue light. It turned on, it turned off. Nothing on screens. This one, it's blue light. Nothing. It's not responding to my power button, so that almost always tells me it's a Wi-Fi card issue. Because this thing has the BIOS on it. So that one produced a white or a blue light turned on, then it turned off. So let me try a third Wi-Fi card. Same sort of result. Blue light turns on for a second and then turns off. So the common denominator here could be the battery. Oh god, I just looked at that screw. Thing is, hopefully I can get that one out. Oh god. I don't know if I'll be able to use the shoulder button ribbon. So let me try holding the Wi-Fi card in while I try to power it on, like I was doing the last time. Same response. I'll try a different battery. So, not sure how that happened, but the backlight for the bottom screen just popped out. Okay, so that tells me right there. So if the... I'm guessing when this thing was taken apart, so I'm just gonna have to take this apart completely, reseat all of these connections. I'll double check the top screen. I did reseat it, I'll try it again. I might want to clean it. I didn't even notice that wasn't latched in all the way, but I should have figured that if the top screen wasn't plugged in all the way, then the bottom screen wouldn't be either. Let me actually look at this top screen. Oh, it looks like I forgot to latch it down. Thought I did. Not completely crazy. Well, let's try this again. So that's seated in all the way. Maybe when I flicked it down, it didn't stay. So that was a blue light that turns on for a moment then shuts off. So it could possibly be that that problem is originated by bad screens. And since the console can't flash the screens to say, hey, there's a problem. Okay, all known or pieces that are needed for boot are installed. I'm going to do my original battery because I did charge this one specifically for these types of testings. Okay, and now it's giving me a bottom screen flashing since I was able to plug in the bottom screen LCD. So I need to take it apart. I'm guessing that the top screen is torn because why wouldn't it be? This is missing a lot of screws. I'm just taking this apart since it's in front of me. And this one is really horribly stripped. Hope this doesn't give me much problems. Okay, it wasn't that bad, but I am going to throw it away. Oh, that one doesn't... That's why that shoulder button didn't feel right. It didn't have the little metal post in it. Which I call the little pivot. Now this one unfortunately does share... No, it doesn't. These are different motherboard serial numbers, so... Ooh, I didn't see this. Oh, holy cow. So I'm wondering who did this, because they were able to put in an extra motherboard screw up here, which you wouldn't have a spare motherboard screw. You would only ever have 3. You'd never have 4. I'm wondering if this was something done by like a shop or just somebody who had trying to Frankenstein 2 consoles together and screwed up. Neither of the square retention nuts for the battery door are there. That's cool. Hopefully that serial number won't screw with me, because if I see a serial number, I'm going to try and match it, and since there is no... I doubt I have a console that matches with. Just lying around. It did have both springs. One spring was a little bent. I don't think that really matters. Still looks like it has the entire length of the spring. As long as it's positioned right, it should do its job. Put this away. So I'm going to need a new top screen to test this board with. At this point, I'm guessing this board's probably unlaunched. I really don't see why anybody would go through the process of Frankensteining a console together if they're not going to also unlaunch it. I can't tell... Yeah, I did plug it in all the way. I'm at least good enough to do that. Set that motherboard right there for now. Let's get all this off. So I don't know this screen. Obviously, some good scratches in it, so I'll have to replace the digitizer. Get all the mismatched buttons away. Hey. You get out of there. Hey. Oh, hello. Okay, come on. There we go. Now, let's see where that tear is. Don't necessarily see the tear, but can't not exist. Ooh, yummy. More stuff spilt. Just soak it in rubbing alcohol and it'll just peel up. Pop that out. I think I see the tear. Oh. Yeah, this will be another console that will be very receptive to cleaning. Very much look forward to that. Alright, let's get this camera off. See if I can spot the tear on this ribbon cable. Yeah, that might be it. I'm gonna grab my camera. It's a pretty good tear, too. Alright. Ah. Hey now. Yep, right there. That's where I saw it. Tearing through two good thin outer traces. Nice. That was a good tear. My poor microphone's about to fall over. Definitely this foam pad I'm using was not meant for what I'm using it for. Put it right there. There. The lens is probably in good shape, maybe. There is that, like, DSI weirdness that's happening underneath the lens. Or there's, like... Can't really see it, but... something I've noticed on DSIs exclusively. Alright, so let me get this motherboard hooked up with a good top screen. And see the status of both the motherboard as well as the battery. Or as well as the bottom screen of the battery. I'll grab this bottom screen, which is yellowed. Also has the same color lens. How about them apples? Let me see if it's unlaunched. It's not unlatched. Neat. No problems. No problems whatsoever. This bottom screen is good, just needs a new digitizer. Oh, that wasn't good. I didn't damage that cable. Nah, it's fine. Yeah. No known problems. And this one is good. Okay, I think that's all I'm gonna do. I want to start putting all these away and start cleaning. Shells, that should be